Hello and welcome to my branded Chimera deck profile. In this video I will show you my branded Chimera deck in which I managed to get first place at the OTS locals in Poland. I will show you what cards I played in my main deck, extra deck and side deck, but also explain why I played these specific cards. At that tournament we played 4 rounds of Swiss in which I managed to win all of them. The first round was against Voiceless Voice. The second round was against Plant Link with Raika, Sana Villain, Rika, and the Aramash cards. The third one was against a random pile that contained Kashtira, Diabellstar, Horus, Tech Genius, Mech Knight, and World Chalice. And the fourth and last round was a mirror match with Brilliant Chimera. Yeah, that's all for the introduction, and yeah, let's get to the deck profile. Yeah, so starting off with the main deck, we play very standard. We play 3 Cornshield Codal, 3 Mirror Salt Knight, and 3 Nightmare Apprentice. These cards right here are your main starters in the deck, like one of the main starters. This card searches you a card that mentions Chimera Fusion and is a negate in the graveyard if your opponent targets a card from your side of the field. This card, you can tribute it from your side of the field to special summon a monster that mentions Chimera Fusion from your deck. And this card searches you an illusion monster, for example the Mirror Salt Knight or the Cornfield Codal, but to special summon it you need to discard 1 card. So overall these cards are your main starters for your Chimera engine. Then we play 2 Baphomet and 3 Gazelle. Both on summon search you, like for example Baphomet search you Chimera Fusion and a Beast Monster level 4, like here, Gazelle. And this card searches you a Fiend Monster level 5 or a Chimera Fusion. I play 3 of him because there's a combo line with Branded Fusion where you have to send him as the material. And the other 2 are for the special summon of this guy because he searches him basically. And I play 2 of him because you special summon him twice, 1 during your turn for your main combo line with the Mirror Salt Knight, and 1 during your opponent's turn to tribute it during the draw phase or standby phase, or that's for the Chimera engine at first. Yeah, so there we have also Tau and Diabellus. Tau can target illusion monster from a graveyard and special summon it if this card has been sent to the graveyard as a trigger effect. And yeah, the Diabellus is a floodgate basically. It says that yeah, they have to set spells before you activate them, so that pretty much turns off all the quick spells and yeah, field spells basically too. And yeah, if a card is set on either side of the field, you can target 1 card you control and 1 card your opponent controls to destroy them. So yeah, pretty much strong effect. And yeah, then Branded Engine and vice versa. We play 2 Albas, 1 Light Hexfield Fusion and 2 Edge and Chain. This card you pretty much need it for the Branded Fusion, for the Branded Engine to actually play the Chimera engine, because you can send this card and the Gazelle to the grave with the Branded Fusion to special Rainbrom, then Gazelle search to an illusion monster because it's sent to the graveyard as a fusion material, and then oh yeah, you go off with your normal Chimera combo. Light Execute Fusion, a pretty strong monster over there in my opinion, because it can substitute any fusion material monster that you will use for the fusion summon, so it can be any monster, right? And then 2 Agent Chain for if you discard it, for example, to special summon the Nightmare Magician, you can search the Patchwork. Then Patchwork will give you a +2, which will be the Agent Chain and the Poly. So yeah, pretty good card over there to the engine. Moving on to the spells, we play 3 Chimera Fusion. This card is basically Poly, but you have to use a Fiend, Beast, or Illusion monster from your hand or field. And it can add itself from the graveyard to the hand if you control Chimera, the flying mythical beast. And then, yeah, I play 3 Branded Fusion, also one of the main starters in the deck, because like I've mentioned before, you can send the Albas and the Gazelle to the grave to fusion some Rindbram, for example, whereas Gazelle will search your main starter. But it can also be used to summon out Mirror Jade or the Dragoon, which is basically why I play Light Hexil Fusion. So yeah, overall one of the best cards also. Then, as I've mentioned before, 2 Patchwork, 2 Poly for the Edgimp engine. Poly is basically if you have another Chimera Fusion or Poly in your hand, this is pretty much an extra fusion for you, so it's pretty good and consistent. For the non-engine, I do not play hand traps, but board breakers. Like here is Super Poly, by far my most favorite board breaker over there, because it can snatch 2 of your opponent's monster to summon out a monster on your side of the field. I also play Super Poly targets for that, like Aurora, Muddragon, to yeah, have to play this card. So very strong card over there. Then we play 2 talents. Not necessarily a board breaker, but well, yes, it can take control of a monster, which counts as a board breaker. But you can also draw 2 cards with these, or look at your opponent's hand for hand rip. So yeah, as soon as your opponent activates a monster effect during your main phase, you can activate this card and go on, break his board, draw 2 cards, or hand rip his hand. So pretty good over there. Then special for Tempai or other, like Sneka for example, also very good. Book of Eclipse. It books pretty much all the monsters on both sides of the field. So yeah, it can be used as a interruption, like a very big interruption for your opponent. And of course 1 called by for protection for the Ash, the Droll, or whatever. For tier elements, even the Marley, Shira, and other Havness. So yeah, it's pretty strong. Moving on to the extra deck, I play 2 Chimera. I could play 1 also, because only 1 time I get to hand rip my opponent, but I play 2 for whatever reason. Then I play 1 Berthomet. This card sends an Beast, Fiend, or Illusion type monster from your deck to the graveyard, which means you can also set a Floodgate for your opponent during your turn, like for the Debels, or the next turn, like your opponent's turn, to disturb your opponent for a little bit. And then the OTK line, the Chimera. If it attacks, you can reduce your opponent's ATK to 0, and such as their death, and their effects are getting negated. This card can also attack up to the number of times, like for the fusion materials used. So yeah, you can pretty much go OTK with it. Then I play 2 Guardian Chimera. In my opinion, another boss monster over there, because you can draw cards and destroy 2 or 1, depending on how many fusion materials you used from the field or the hand. So yeah, and it also can't be targeted by card effect if you have a polymerization grave. So yeah, another strong boss monster. If you play with it against Snake Eye, then you won pretty much, because all of them target, and yeah, I don't think your opponent will go over 3,300. Yeah, moving on, Branded Engine, I play 1 Albion, 1 Mirror Jade, and 1 Rindbram. This card pretty much fusion summons from your graveyard by banishing monsters. Mirror Jade is a non-target banish, and Rindbram is for the normal combo line for the Chimera monsters. I don't play Lubellion because in the past when I played this deck, he didn't came up very often, so I decided to cut him out for other cards. And yeah, super poly targets, we play one Dragostapelia, one Mud Dragon, one Garura. This card is not necessarily a super poly target because you can use a dark monster and a fusion monster of yours, but if you play against a fusion deck, like for example Dynamorphia or Branded Despia itself, you can pretty much snatch his monsters and summon him, which is an additional monster negate. And then, yeah, other cards that I play, one Magnon for additional dropper and an additional disruption. My most favorite card over there, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. This card helped me out in so many situations because it is an additional negate, and also another reason why I play Hexiod Fusion for the Dark Magician. And then I play a copy of Chaos Angel to play through the Dimensional Barrier. There was also a situation in which I have played against Voiceless Voice and he sided out a D-Barrier. So yeah, I just summoned him out and yeah, it was pretty good. So yeah, that's for the extra deck for now. And now lastly the side deck. I play one hand trap in side deck and that will be Ash. For example, if I play against a deck that is very weak to Ash, like for example Branded Despia itself also, yeah, then yeah, I side him out also for going first or going second. So yeah, then I play another board breaker, Dark Rail No More. Very good against some scary boards like for example Plantling, or I can pretty much shut down all of his monsters and start comboing. Only weakness is because your opponent doesn't take any damage when I activate it, but that won't be a problem. Then for many trap decks, like stun decks, Labyrinth for example, I play two Lightning Storm, Harpy's Feather Duster, which are pretty much back row removal, and yeah. Then I play Floodgates to exchange for the Diabels. Depending on the deck my opponent is playing, I play the Barra Statue and End of Anubis. This card pretty much locks both player monsters to summon dark monsters. So if your opponent plays, for example, like a pure Earth deck, then yeah, I can just pretty much summon him out and then yeah, pretty much over. Then I play one Anubis for all the graveyard reliant decks like Tearlaments, Snake Eye, what else, Dark World, to yeah, it's pretty much an auto-win button for all these. Then I play one Change of Heart. I don't even know why I'm playing this card. This card didn't come up in a single match, but yeah, I had one slot left, so I played this. And I think the most famous board breaker, in my opinion, evenly matched for all the control decks, Snake Eye, and yeah, what do I know? So yeah, that's pretty much for the deck profile, and now I will show you combo lines that you need to know. Okay, so for your normal combo, you want to have one of these three cards in your hand. For the combo line with the Nightmare Apprentice, you need to have an additional card to discard. But for the first, let's just assume you have the Cornfield Kodo in your hand. So yeah, this whole thing is a one card combo, and yeah, let's start. So you activated Cornfield Kodo, you discard it for cost 2, search a copy of Mirror Sword Knight. Then you normal summon Mirror Sword Knight, and then activate its effect, you trigger it to special summon a copy of Big Winged Baphomet. Then you activate Baphomet to search a copy of Gazelle and Chimera Fusion. So then you activate Chimera Fusion, you fuse the Big Winged Baphomet and the Gazelle to special summon the Chimera, King of Mythical Beasts. Then you activate 3 chain links. You chain link 1 Gazelle, this will add an illusion monster from your deck to your hand. Chain link 2 Baphomet, targeting Mirror Sword Knight to special summon it. Then 3 Chimera to hand rip during the end phase from your opponent's hand. So if it resolves, then you special summon the Mirror Sword Knight from your graveyard, and Gazelle will add you a copy of Diabellus. Then you activate Chimera Fusion in your graveyard. Because you control the Chimera, you can add this card from your graveyard to your hand. And then you activate Chimera Fusion once again. You fuse the Diabellus and the Chimera to fusion summon the Baphomet. And then you activate Baphomet's effect. This will send the Tau to the graveyard. And then Tau's effect activates, targeting the Diabellus to special summon it from your graveyard. Okay, so now what do we have? We have a Floodgate, which prevents your opponent partially from activating spells, and you can also destroy a card you control or your opponent controls if either player sets a card. Then you have Baphomet. This card is basically Chimera, the flying mythical beast, which allows you to have 2 negates. These are individually Cornfield Codal and the Mirror Sword Knight. The Mirror Sword Knight is a monster negate on the field, and the Cornfield Codal is a negate for targeting. Yeah, and then you also have a follow-up. You can activate during the standby phase of your opponent's turn. You activate Mirror Sword Knight, tribute it. This will special summon another Baphomet. Then Baphomet effect activates as usual. It will add Gazelle and the Chimera Fusion. Okay, now I will show you a combo line with only the branded fusion, and also here it is a 1-card combo. So you start off by activating branded fusion. You will send as fusion materials from your deck the Gazelle and the Fallen of Alvas to fusion summon a Rindbrom from your extra deck. Then the Gazelle activates, and because it was sent as fusion material, you are going to add to your hand a copy of Cornfield Codal, the Nightmare Apprentice, or the Mirror Sword Knight itself. Then you go off with your normal combo. You will activate Cornfield Codal to search the Mirror Sword Knight. Then your normal summon Mirror Sword Knight, activate its effect to special summon the Big Wing Baphomet. When Big Wing Baphomet activates, it will search your copy of Chimera Fusion and Gazelle. You activate the Chimera Fusion to fuse these 2 to fusion summon the Chimera. Now, because we activated Gazelle already this turn, we go chain link 1 Baphomet, targeting the Mirror Sword Knight, and chain link 2 Chimera for hand rip during the end phase. So you special summon due to Baphomet the Mirror Sword Knight, and there you have it. Then you activate the Chimera Fusion from your graveyard. You add this. Then you want to set the Chimera Fusion and pass the turn to your opponent. Now, what is new? We have Rindbrom, which is an extra deck negate, like for the Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, and Link monster. And yeah, as usual, the follow-up, the Mirror Sword Knight, where you tribute it as cast to special the Big Wing Baphomet, and Big Wing Baphomet will add you the Gazelle and the Chimera Fusion. But what is new, because we can't go on to the Floodgate, we have the Chimera Fusion. We can activate this card if your opponent plays a little bit too much. We can activate it during the main phase, and we can we will need a monster in our hand. So we will use the Rindbrom, very important, the Mirror Salt Knight or the Big Wing Perfumet, if we tributed it, and a monster on our hand to fusion summon into the Guardian Chimera. Now we will activate the chain links. We will chain link one Perfumet, targeting any illusion monster, like for example Mirror Salt Knight, or a chain link to Guardian Chimera, which allows us to draw one card and destroy two cards our opponent controls. So yeah, we have also the Rindbrom in our graveyard. We can target this card or the Fallen of Albas. I prefer the Fallen of Albas. We special summon it and we have to banish the Rindbrom. When Albas effect activates, we discard a card from our hand, which will fusion summon the Fallen of Albas and a monster from our opponent's field. Now let's assume we will fusion summon a monster that is a fusion monster, synchro, Xyz, or link monster, and this will fusion summon a copy of Mirror Jade. And with Mirror Jade we have an effect. We can send, for example, Albion as cast to non-target banish a card from our opponent's side or our side of the field. And as well we have two monster negates because we control Chimera, the flying mythical beast, like these two. Now I will show you a specific 2-card combo that goes separately. With this card you will end up on a different disruption, and on the Corn-Tree Kodo also with its own mainline combo. You can start off with a card of your choice, but let's assume you will activate at first Rennet Fusion. This will send to the graveyard as fusion material the Fallen of Albas and the Light Hexed Fusion to fusion summon the Albion. Now Albion's effect activates, you will banish these two monsters, or also the Albion, but I prefer the Fallen of Albas, to fusion summon into the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, which is a Omni negate by discarding one card. Now you go on with your normal Chimera combo. You discard Kodo as cast to search the Mirror Salt Knight. Then your normal Mirror Salt Knight activate its effect to special the Big Wing. Big Winged effect will add Gazelle and Chimera Fusion. Then you activate Chimera Fusion, you fuse these two together to fusion summon the Chimera. Then you go chainlink one Gazelle to add, chainlink to Berthomet, targeting the Mirror Salt Knight, and chainlink 3 Gazelle 400. So then if it resolves, you special summon Mirror Salt Knight from your graveyard, and you add with the Gazelle the Diabels. Then you activate the Chimera Fusion, you add this card back to your hand because you control Chimera, the flying mythical beast, and then you activate Chimera Fusion, you fuse the Diabels and the Chimera into the Berthomet, and then you activate Berthomet. This will send Tau, and then Tau's effect targeting Diabels, which special summons it. So yeah, as you can see with Branded Fusion and the Corn-Tree Kodo, you end up on a much stronger board consisting of an Omni negate, 2 negates in the graveyard, like here the Kodo and the Mirror Salt Knight. Like Mirror Salt Knight can also be in the field, but preferably in the graveyard as a monster negate, and also the Abyss for the floodgate and an additional destruction. So yeah, it makes a lot with the Branded Fusion and the Cornfield Coddle as a 2-card combo. So yeah, that was pretty much it for the deck profile and the combo guide. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, you can write it in the comments. But otherwise, leave a like or subscribe to my channel if you want. And yeah, see you in the next video.